Apart from the result, the manner of it for your former club, Leon, how potentially damaging, as Michael says, at this stage could that be?
Yeah, hugely damaging. Performance was terrible. Losing so many goals, looking at goal difference, it's starting to become a part of the thinking. And if anyone was under any illusion that Everton are in a serious relegation fight, well, they're certainly aware of that now, because that kind of performance is disastrous. As touched on, Spurs didn't have to work too hard, or certainly not hard enough to score those goals. Everton made the spaces for the good players like Kane and Son to run into. If you're going away from home to somewhere like Spurs, I'm sure you look at what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, how are we going to make sure we get a result there. It was as if Everton played into Tottenham's hands. They created the spaces for Spurs. They went and closed in ones and twos, allowed Spurs to pop it round. I've seen Spurs struggle so often this season against teams that defend deep, don't give them any room to play, make it very difficult for Spurs. Everton did the opposite tonight, and it's no surprise that Spurs scored so many goals.
Congratulations. Just how much did you need a night like this in front of your own supporters?
Yeah, I think I said before the game that's the kind of thing we needed. We needed to start fast, and that's exactly what we did. Just clinical again in front of goal like we were against Leeds, just finishing off the chances that we had, and we pretty much killed the game in the first half.
What do you think was the key tonight? Because Everton came out and started well. They looked bright in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think they had a bit of possession to start, but I think we were just clinical, we just had when we had the opportunity to slide somebody in or make a great chance, I think we pretty much took it. So, look, I don't think they created too much. I think on both ends of the pitch we were pretty solid.
How much did you enjoy your own contribution tonight, and your contribution since you've got back into the team?
Yeah, look, obviously that position I love. I think like I said before, that's the reason why I'm at Tottenham. I was playing that position at Wolves, and was managing to get in at the back stick and create chances and score goals. So hopefully I can keep it up.
Another special night for Harry Kane. He's had a few, hasn't he? He's just passed Thierry Henry's Premier League goal-scoring mark, with the help of your assist, of course. Knowing him as you do, how pleased will he be?
Yeah, he'll be pleased, but I think, he's gone for all types of records, isn't he? So I think that'll just be kind of a couple of goals. Like, he'll be looking at other records he'll be going for Shearer and stuff like that. So look, he'll be pretty pleased, but he'll be thinking about where he can get his next goals from.
Just finally, after that FA Cup defeat last week, how important was this result just to give your whole season some fresh impetus? Yeah,
exactly like you just said, fresh impetus. We needed to kind of have a reaction. We said the same thing after the Burnley game. We had the reaction at Leeds, and after Middlesbrough, it's pretty much the same conversation. We need to show some character, personality, and look, we don't want to be an inconsistent team where we're kind of having to have the same conversation after every 2 games. So hopefully this is the start of an unbeaten run, see how far we can go until the rest of the season.
Matt, well done tonight.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Manchester United next, of course, which we'll get to a little bit later on. But Michael, you alluded to it. Whatever Frank Lampard has said at half-time, you cannot legislate for the start they had to the second half.
That was a nightmare start. You're coming out with, I'm sure in the changing room, they've tried to rally, they've tried to be positive, they've tried to come out thinking, start well. It's the old cliche of start well, second half, at least to get back in the game in some way. And then to concede scrappy. But it was that little pocket, wasn't it, in front of the back four all game really, that was causing them problems, and just getting bodies in the box. And when it was at that stage, it was one mistake. It was pressed, bumped, aggressive from Tottenham, and Son running at you like that. When they're in this little position now, in that space, in that pocket, in between that corridor, they are tough to stop, but they were getting in there far too often, really. That was the problem with it. That was the problem all the way through, letting them that space that we spoke about so much.
That's 42 seconds into the second half. Everton's left back, John Kenny, not even in the shot, not even on screen. Tottenham getting in behind Alan, who was exposed all night long, and then getting a back, 2 centre-halves who just weren't up to the task. I felt sorry for Branthwaite coming on in that situation as a young player, expecting to sort of lead a back line. And there's a lot of weight on a young man's shoulder, and he went about his task gamefully. But, I just thought Everton just too often this season, especially away from home, just not up to the challenge.
Couldn't agree more. Frank's got it all wrong, but you have to give Tottenham credit there. The dynamic duo in the middle of the park there, combining like a telephone box, create a melee, the space out wide. Some Son space wide, and Kulusevski finds the right pass. But the next goal was just incredible. Incredible finish from the best striker in the Premier League at the moment. You know, he's had a bit of a barren spell, but Doherty, I'm pleased for him as well. That's a tremendous little Michael Carrick-like ball over the top, and he just lets it drop onto his left foot, and the timing is fantastic. But I mean,
what are Everton doing?
Just
here,
a gift. Just a gift.
Well, what's the approach there?
They're doing exactly what Spurs wanted them to. Take the ball at the back, leave yourself exposed, give the ball away, and leave us spaces to run into. We've got quality to do that. We've got Harry Kane, we've got Heung-min Son, we've got players that will love running into those spaces. We'll be clinical when we get in there. So if you could just give the ball away in bad areas, we'll score goals. I mean, I just don't understand what Everton's thoughts are. I mean, we spoke before the game about make it difficult for Spurs. Don't give Kane and Son the spaces deep. Certainly don't let them run over the top. You have to defend deep as a team. Don't get caught playing out from the back. And Everton ticked every one of those boxes.
Was it naivety at times, Michael, though?
Probably naivety, yeah. But I'm just going back to that goal from Harry Kane. There's not many players in world football on your weaker foot when that's coming over your shoulder. You kind of expect them to hit the target. You know, that's the standard. When it coming there, you're thinking... Most of the players, you're not even expecting it to hit the target. And for him, I mean, a goal, what a strike. But that's he's got that authority, like you said when he went through first off. Don't expect them to miss. It's a goal. It's incredible. But yeah, Everton in the end caused their own problems at times. You can see obviously what they want to do. They want to try and replay, and they want to try and play through the pitch and take possession. But in the end, it's come back to haunt them today.
He's pulled away against Leeds like that, but he knows he's closer to the goal, so he knows it's a different type of finish. You just got to steer it on target. There, he knows it's a little bit wider. He needs to get a bit more onto it, and he just swipes it into the bottom corner. I mean, he practices that every day. That's why he's so good. I mean, any kids out there watching, it don't just happen. It don't just turn up and do that. He's not born like that. It's because he works on it every day.
More often than not, though, he doesn't just hit the target. He hits the very corner.
Corners.
He hits the postage stamp, or it's in off the post. I mean, to hit the target from that angle, you'd say that's an incredible effort. But he hits it in off the post. Pickford's not even expecting it to do that. Brilliant finish from an incredible striker.
Could have been a lot worse.
As was the one in the first half you pointed to as well. Once he was through, never in any doubt.
Never in doubt. Never in doubt. As soon as he bullies Keane there, half an argument for Frank Lampard wants a foul there. He carries on his run. He times it brilliantly. A few little short steps, and then just sits the goalkeeper down and just rifles it in the bottom corner. He's never ever going to miss. Do you think this is a foul, Michael? This one?
I'm not sure it's a foul, is it?
I think he's just a bit stronger than Keane. Keane lets himself get bullied. I mean, he lets Harry just feel him, and he just get off, out of the way. Lays it back there. Great pass there. Good timing of the run. And as soon as he's in, just the authority of the man. He's just got the arrogance to just stand up and just slide that past. He's delighted because he's had a few chalked off for offside. He's delighted when that's not, but no one's saving that.
And that's against the keeper that knows him, a keeper that's seen him in those situations before, who should, you'd think, be able to spot a tell or something on the way through. Not Harry Kane. He was in no doubt, and we were in no doubt that he was going to score that, and that is the measure of the man.
Yeah. That's where he goes in the all-time list, above Thierry Henry. Ironically, just one goal behind Frank Lampard, the Everton manager, then Aguero, Andy Cole, Wayne Rooney. And, well, our good friend Mr. Shearer, won't be getting too concerned yet, 84 behind Alan Shearer, Tim.
Yeah, but look at the appearances of the rest of the guys. I mean, he's there. Alan's looking over his shoulder. He's coming. Alan just wants him to go to Real Madrid.
He does.
As quickly as
He makes
possible.
no bones about that, to be fair to him.
Listen, what do you imagine if he went to Man City? He'd do that next season.
But, I mean, Sergio Aguero's the only other one on that list that, if you're looking at games to goals tally, that has given Harry Kane a run for it. Well, to be fair, Thierry Henry, but he's passed him already. But you're right. If Harry Kane was to go to Manchester City, if he was of that ilk, geez, that would be
another one in on there.
be
He's the
incredible.
only name on that list who hasn't won the Premier League. He's not always in the best team or one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league either, is he?
That's a good point, yeah. I think that in some ways that's what's missing for him as well, of a trophy. I know that's a slightly different point, but surely at some point he's going to be desperate for silverware to top that. Like you say, the other boys there have all played for teams that are winning things, and maybe they get more service, maybe they don't, but he creates so much himself anyway as well. So you could speak all night about his record and what he brings, composure in front of goal, his quality. Like Tim makes the point, though, it's not an accident. You know, it's work, isn't it? It's work, it's attitude, it's building year on year and getting better and better. And any time he gets a chance, you just fancy him to score.
And even more so this season. You know, he's had disappointment not going to Man City. He's had the criticism that his form's been off. Just got on with it. You know, he's gone and scored back-to-back hat-tricks for England. You know, his form's still poor when he comes back to Tottenham. They're not playing the style he wants to play, but he's rolled his sleeves up, he's persevered with it, and now he's broke through. And now he looks like Harry Kane of old, just in time for the summer.
Indeed.
Probably disappointed.
What are you intimating, Timothy?
I mean, he's going to want to go.
You don't see him in a Spurs shirt next season?
I don't see him in a Tottenham shirt unless he signs a new contract. But he's not going to sign a new contract unless Antonio Conte signs a new contract. He's only got 1 year left. Why should he be there longer than the manager? You don't know who's coming through the door next. No guarantees. You've seen a lot of managers off there, and he's still not won anything. If Man City is still there for him, he has to go to Man City.
Who thinks about leaving Tottenham to go and win things, eh?
I'm not saying anything.
Hey, it worked.
Just a 5. He's but one behind Frank Lampard tonight. What will be in that Everton manager's mind when he travels back north this evening?
Oh, disappointment, for sure. His game plan certainly didn't work tonight. Picked off at times. But it's the moment to regroup himself and regroup because the team have got 2 incredibly big games coming up in the week. They've got Wolves at home, Newcastle at home, and they need to win both of them. Make no doubt about that. Everton need 6 points from those next 2 games. Their run after that is incredibly difficult, especially their home games. So Everton have to look at those. So he hasn't got time to dwell on that defeat. He hasn't got time to let the players feel down and defeated and deflated about it. He has to somehow pick them up and start working towards beating Wolves on Sunday because arguably it's Everton's biggest game of the season now.
And him himself, I mean, it's only his 3rd job. It's his heaviest defeat as a manager. In fact, it's his heaviest defeat, I'm hearing, as a player or a manager for 18 years in Frank Lampard's career.
Well,
This isn't normal for him at all.
No, and certainly, I mean, it's a huge defeat, you know, and he wouldn't have enjoyed going back there. He's had some decent results at Tottenham, but he's always gone back with Chelsea players, you know, at his disposal. He's going back there with a lot of them defenders and just not good enough. So you have to have a different game plan. You can't go there. We talked about looking at Tottenham's strengths and nullifying them. Don't worry about taking a game to Tottenham. Get something. You know, if you can't get a win, you get a draw. You need to be more solid. You need to protect the 2 centre-backs, Holgate and Keane. They're not good enough. They're not good enough. So they need protection in front of them. They didn't have that tonight and they got exploited.
He'll be learning all the time, analysing every game, won't he? He's lost 4 of the 5 league games he's had in charge.
Like I said before, momentum is so important both ways. And you look at that, and with the red on the board there, with the 1 win from the 5 games, you've got to nip that in the bud. This time of year, every game means so much more than from the rest of the season going into the running, and momentum both ways just snowballs. And, you know, Leon said the next 2 games are so important because they get good results in the next games. Who's not to say that they're running the little cluster of games after that? They look tough at the moment, but if they get 2 wins, they could easily go and get another win or 2 in that because that's kind of confidence and belief in a bit of freshness.
Everton are that type of club, and we've done that in the past. I mean, going back a few years now, when I was in the team, we've had a couple of poor starts to the season. There was once where we were, I think, in the relegation zone just on Christmas time, and people looking around being a little bit concerned, and suddenly you win a game that you've had to really roll your sleeves up, get your backs to the wall, and you come out of it really pleased with each other. And then that snowballs. Suddenly you get on a run, and we finished in the top half that season and went on to qualify for Europe again for the next few seasons. And it comes down to small margins, getting the momentum. But that starts by getting clean sheets, and that starts by going away from home and being difficult to defeat, not conceding 5 and exposing yourself. Tim's right, Everton are weak at the back. So you can't necessarily play this high press in this game where you're playing forward because you're going to leave your 2 weakest players with 2 of their best players. You can't afford to do that. So Everton have got to try and figure out a way of protecting their centre-halves more.
OK, we hope to get the thoughts of Frank Lampard shortly. First, the winning manager, Antonio Conte.
Antonio, congratulations. We've seen some different emotions from you of late, haven't we? Sum up your emotions after what you've seen tonight.
Surely a good game. A good game and also a good answer after the defeat against Middlesbrough. And it wasn't an easy game because Everton, as I said to you before the game, is a team that now is fighting in a relegation zone, but they have a really good squad with good players. But tonight I think we played a really good game, and from the start until the end, and we moved the ball very well, quickly, and we attacked the space with the right time, and I'm pleased for my players, especially because when you see this type of game and you see that the work that we are doing, the hard work that we are doing, and is starting to pay, is good. I think that this team is a team that is improving a lot. We have a lot of space to continue to improve, but from I arrive, I think the level of this team has improved, but it's not enough. It's not enough because we know very well that in England the level of this league is very high, and but at the same time the players and I want to try to be competitive and to fight for position. To try to stay in position at top of the table, and we have to take this responsibility. The players and I, and in the last 12 games to play and to give everything, and then at the end of the season we'll see which will be our position in the table.
We're looking at that position. Have they put themselves right back in that top 4 fight tonight?
Oh yeah, I never thought they was out of it. I think they're inconsistent. We know that. You know, they can go and beat Man City. They've got the quality to be able to do it, but then they lose at home to Southampton and Wolves, go away to Burnley, get beat, lose in the FA Cup to Middlesbrough and Championship side. Not good enough. Consistency is not good enough. So you'd have to say at the moment, on the balance of that, you would say Arsenal are in pole position. In the league position, Arsenal are in pole as well. I just think Tottenham have the firepower. I think the head-to-heads, the North London derby is going to be huge, and the game at the weekend against Man United. If you lose both of them games, which they're capable of doing, we know they are, but they're also capable of winning them. If they lose both of them games, then top 4 is not an option. But, you know, he's got them in a good position. Before he went in, let's not forget, Nuno had him in a dreadful position in the league, but he would want more consistency, as all the Tottenham fans would and all the players would. But it's up to him to try and find that.
Yeah, 30 points from a possible 48 since he assumed responsibility from Nuno. How would you sum him up so far, do you feel?
I think they've had spells where they've looked extremely dangerous and positive and looked like they could go on a real run, and at one stage they were really challenging Chelsea not so long ago, and they were really in touching distance of that, and then kind of a couple of results didn't go their way, and then they've ended up being where they are. But for them to be, like Tim said, for them when he took over the position they were in, to be there and having a good chance. I mean, it's so tight there, though, isn't it? I think if there'd be twists and turns, whatever happens on the weekend, I think there'll be twists and turns within that, because there's 4 teams that that have anything's possible, and they're all playing each other at some point. So I don't think this weekend will decide anything coming up. Whatever the result, even though it might swing, there's still a bit of football at that end of the table to play, I think.
I mean, even on Arsenal, Leon, they've got to play United, Spurs and Chelsea yet.
Yeah, well, it could go to any of them teams. It really could. Michael's right that you just don't know. All of them have been really good at some point in the season. All of them have been poor at some point this season, inconsistent. So it is going to go down to the wire. With regards to Spurs, if they play in the manner they did tonight, they'll have a chance, but they need to get on the kind of run they got when Antonio Conte first joined the club, where I think they won 7 out of the first 8 games, or first 9 games, something like that. But, you know, they're just inconsistent. I expect them to be good against Man United. I expect them to beat Brighton twice, teams that will come out and they'll go toe-to-toe with. Anytime they get an opportunity to match up Kane and Son with players at the back and the opposition will match up with them, they'll probably win the games. But I think for those teams that try and frustrate Spurs, I think when it'll come down to it, I don't know if they've got enough guile to create those chances from deep.
Yeah, I think they are weak at them. And when they're exposed and when they come out, I think you've got the space in behind to exploit them. I think that he wants to play counter-attacking football. I think tonight Frank played into his hands, because if Frank would have sat back, you've got the players in that squad offensively. Defensively, no. Offensively, they had the players to hurt Tottenham if they had the right game plan tonight. They never got it right. They left too many spaces. Teams were nice and organised, and there'll be a lot of teams. That could have been a difficult game tonight if he had his game plan right against Everton, fighting for their lives. There's always something to play for in the Premier League, whether it's fighting for top 4, whether it's relegation battle. Teams are on it, and if you drop your standards, you could get exploited. I think that he needs to have some consistency now between now and the end of the season, but I really believe it's down to the head-to-heads. Whoever's going to finish 4th is, when you play against each other, whoever takes the maximum points. And I would say if I was taking a bet now, I'll say Man United would still be my favourites because they have the best players. Now, in spite of the manager, I think that they can get 4th place. I don't think the manager sets them up correctly, but I think if you can get the likes of Ronaldo back on that pitch, get him scoring big goals, because that's what he does. He turns up on the big occasions. You got the likes of Varane, get him back in the team, get Pogba firing on cylinders, Bruno. They have, if you look at the squad, Steve, they've got the best players. I like Son and Kane, obviously. I think they could play for Man United. They could play for Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea. They could play for all the teams in the top. But if something happened to one of those two, or especially Harry Kane, then Tottenham's chances would be over. Arsenal are the best team at the moment, organised. I think Mikel's done a good job quietly, got them young players playing brilliantly well. I'm not sure they've got enough firepower. I just think I would like to be managing Man United at the moment. If I had to pick one team to get in the dressing room to finish in the top 4 out of the 3, Arsenal, Tottenham and Man United, I would pick the squad of Manchester.